listed in a set. So once we get around to draft again, we'll be sure to put Vampire Survivors up there. I don't even think I got the first DLC. I know they're up to 2 DLCs now. I don't know where my coffee went. Oh, it's right here in front of me, hidden by my mic. Yo, welcome everybody. VeeDotVod here. Got multiple things lined up today. Number 1, after we do like chatting here, Rogue Legacy 2 new update. I am actually very excited for it. This is called Swan Song Update. I actually see pretty much everything I ever wanted to see from Rogue Legacy 2 in this one update, which is more so a different game. I mean, not to say it's a completely different game, but it's more so like a special game mode was added to it. And we're going to be playing that today. Afterwards, we're going to go into Dead Cells. I'm looking at my calendar down here. Dead Cells, we're going to try out the scissors. We already did a showcase of the comb. And we have not done a full run of scissors yet. So we'll give that a try, see how it works out. And then lastly, we're going to round out the night with Warframe. I have to check my notes. Warframe added some kind of new roguelike mode. And especially coming out of Path of Exile, Crucible, we've been having a lot of fun checking out these, hey, we added a roguelike mode to our game sort of deals. And us as the resident expert in the field, experts, because that's each and every one of you in the chat too, we can decide if it's a good roguelike or not. If Warframe jumped the dogfish, apparently, or if they know what they're doing over there at whatever the name of the developer is. They're actually doing a lot of cool stuff. They've gotten multiple awards for, like, top community game of the year. So they know what they're doing. I, of course, have not played Path of Exile. I have not played Warframe since, like, 2013. But before all of that, we had some incredible trailers posted from the folks over at Bandai Namco. And to be honest, so like we're doing gaming stuff. We have Capcom creators. We did Mega Man Battle Network. We're going to be doing Street Fighter. There's EA stuff. I'm sitting on Star Wars Soulsborne right now. I haven't installed it yet, but I have Star Wars game ready. That's EA Games. But Bandai Namco, though, I have never done anything for Bandai Namco, and this is going to change all that. And I say that as someone who has played probably about 1,000 hours of Armored Core 2 and 3 and Silent Line.
Handler Walter verified. Activating cerebral coral control device.
This is the new gameplay trailer for Armored Core 6, not Animal Crossing 6. And you all don't know, I am so geeked for this game. Like, you have no idea how many hours I have played on the PlayStation 2 Armored Cores. And I have my disc copies, too. If I had a way to, like, show PS2 gameplay on stream, I would do it.
Augmented human C4621 has awakened.
Like, it's already so clean visually right here. Yeah, we're gonna be playing PS5 version if I play it, Seekius. The movement already makes me feel like we're back in Armored Core 3 and not in Armored Core 4, which is hugely important. We have all the different kinds of bipedals. We got the quadra leg, we got the tank leg, so all of those are back. New kinds of melee weapons. big, humongous enemies.
One of the infamous handler Walter's hounds.
And I've always loved the dialogue in these games too.
You ready to climb the wall?
Call sign Raven. Priority subject for termination. High on the list.
A coral response from the generator. Watch out.
And the music!
Why hide behind another's call sign?
Goosebumps for me already.
Let's see how far they can fly. On borrowed wings.
Bandai plus FromSoft gonna be crazy. Yeah, so Armored Core has been a FromSoft franchise since the beginning, right? Let's check out Armored Core 3 box art. Actually, I don't know if they put developers on the box art back then. So Last Raven, they have it up there. It's kind of hard to see. So for the most part, we know what FromSoft games are, right? We got Sekiro. We got Elden Ring. We have Bloodborne. We have Dark Souls. Like, we got all of it. But, like, 90% of the player base probably doesn't know about Armored Core as a franchise. And the ones who do probably just remember them from old PlayStation games until Armored Core 5 came out. And not to say that Armored Core 4 and 5 were utter failures, but going from the PS2 era games into these ones, Armored Core 4 and 5, it's like someone decided, hey, we need to evolve the franchise. Like, no one's gonna want to play these old games on their PlayStation 3. So when they evolved the franchise, they evolved a lot of the mechanics as well. They steered away from what I would call this balanced gameplay, I feel, where you are hindered by gravity, for one, and also hindered by the capability of your actual suit. It's like, for example, a reverse leg biped can do a lot of maneuvering around. It's a lot lighter as well, and can have like a better vertical leap compared to a tank, which is very horizontal. I guess they added drift like you're playing GTA in here. But, like, when you look at Armored Core 5, every single core can do this stuff. Maybe 5 is a good way to show it. I would love, like, a gameplay trailer. The games have always been good. It's just that the current ones that we have out right now are a little, I don't want to say unrealistic, because it's a video game, right? So, like, how unrealistic are we talking? Shoutouts to IGN. What is this music? Yo, Doom, good to see you. It's so fun. It's like looking at these, it feels like you're back in that PS3 Resident Evil 5 Gold Edition, Xbox with, I don't know, Xbox games apparently. Like even the dubstep music behind it and the flash, freaking seizure warning. It's like a huge jump, right? In terms of like an actual atmospheric feel to what the game is going to be. So I feel pretty good. Honestly, I was very afraid of what the new game would look like. And my fears have been resolved, at least at this point. We do have a session with the developer, apparently. So we're going to look at that. This is also courtesy of IGN. Halo trailer vibes, exactly.
What's up, everyone? My name is Mitchell Saltzman, and today I'm joined remotely all the way from
Yeah,
Japan.
already
My
check
producer,
out the
Yasunori
best
Ogura,
player
to talk
play
all about
Armored Core
6.
on a
How are
controller.
you?
Hi there, I'm great.
Is
thank
that
you.
from like
I'm
a
Yasunori Ogura from Software, producer on Armored Core 6.
like an IGN or something
How long
like that?
has Armored Core 6 been
How would I
developed,
find the
and
best
what has it
player?
been like for From Software to return to this franchise that was such a big part of the company for such a long time?
So we have been cultivating development staff through our experience with recent titles, and there were many members of staff, including Miyazaki and myself, who've wanted to make a new Armored Core game for a long time. So really not
Yeah,
making
it's
a new
nuts
Armored
because I think there's a bit to it where like they know what will sell. We'll work on Elden Ring, keep on getting the bankroll coming in, and then like all on the background, like we have people who are like genuinely interested in making Armored Core 6. And all we need is for people to trust us that we'll make a good game out of it.
Armored Core was never really an option. It was a case of when rather than if. As to the game's direction and development,
Google the
in
best
around
players use a
2018,
controller to
Miyazaki
play
and some
Armored
core
Core.
members of the team began initial direction and forming the basic core concept of AC6.
We might be able to
And
take a look after.
prototyping was complete, our director Yamamura took over on the project. However, as you know, we have several projects going on at the same time within the company, so we had to get an ideal allocation of resources.
We're still working on Elden Ring
Start
DLC.
forward, which resulted in a slightly longer wait, but we're happy to finally bring a new Armored Core to our fans.
So, can you tell us a little bit about the story of Armored Core 6 and whether newcomers will be able to jump right into this entry if they haven't played any of the other ones?
This
If
is
DLC
a
will come out
brand new
before?
story and has no
I think we have a date for
previous
Armored Core
titles.
6.
AC6 takes place in a future where interstellar travel is commonplace, not on Earth, but on a fictional planet in a distant star system called Rubicon 3. Rubicon is a devastated planet
August.
raised to ash in a great disaster.
August
caused by the
24.
outbreak of a mysterious new substance called coral.
Activating cerebral coral control device.
Which occurred half a century before the events of the game take place. At the outset of the game and the story, the player learns that coral, which was thought lost in this great disaster, has been rediscovered, and extraterrestrial corporate forces have begun an invasion race to...
So extraterrestrial corporations. Another fun thing about the Armored Core series is that it's always a, not really a post-apocalyptic, but if you think about like a Kojima game where basically war is done by a proxy and you have like corporations that battle and like front load all of the wartime efforts themselves. It could be a battle over resources, a battle over some political stance or something like that. But it's all just, yeah, corporate hellscape, exactly. So it's funny that they're still going that route, which I guess, you know, makes sense if it's a resource that's out there. And then you need tech in order to get it, and tech to fight for it.
Acquire the rights to this mysterious and powerful new substance. So they are at conflict with the indigenous forces who are resisting their invasion on the planet Rubicon. And the player, as a lone independent mercenary and AC pilot, is thrust into this Rubicon.
Realistic, too real.
So although AC6 is a numbered title, The setting and story are completely new, and we believe it makes a great first entry into the series for newcomers and old fans alike.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Wake the dog up.
So let's talk a little bit.
Though I
about
feel like you
the
don't really need to know Armored Core to play
that's unique about the
any of them.
planet that will allow for kind of unique mission structures that people haven't seen in the Armored Core series previously.
Sorry, it was a little quiet.
Things we'd like to convey to both newcomers and old hands to the series. Armored Core offers two unique game experiences. First is this dynamic, three-dimensional action that can only be achieved with mechs. And the second is the ability to customize your own personal AC by combining multiple parts and decorating it to your liking with painting and decals and the like. So
Yeah, so customizing a core has always been like a big part of Armored Core. You typically have like two shoulder pieces, a right arm, a left arm, and then the core itself might have like a generator, booster, the core itself, and then like an actual CPU. And each one of those has like different stat values to them. So you may have, for example, a CPU that requires like a lot of energy, but does a very good job at locking on the targets. So if you have missiles might have a timer on how quickly they can lock on to something. And in order to get like the fastest lock on possible, you would need stuff that supports that. But then again, like now you're draining energy that you would have used towards your booster or towards like an energy gun into like just lock on, and it's like it's so fun.
Assembled player-controlled ACs are able to fly freely through the air and handle multiple weapons simultaneously, and turn on a dime, dash in different directions at once. This makes for a dynamic and very aggressive combat style that makes full use of the three-dimensional space, and we feel that this has always been an appeal of the Armored Core series and is an appeal of the mech action genre.
For die-hard,
as long as like the tanks can't do it. I think that's my biggest issue, is that from Armored Core 4, you need some kind of difference between different frame types. And if they can all do the same thing, then you kind of just go for whatever has the most stats.
hard Armored Core fans, what are the
paid
elements
skins
of Armored Core 6
probably wouldn't be
that those hardcore fans are going to find appealing about this game?
With AC6, one area we focused on was to make sure that the
FromSoft doesn't really
aspect
do
is not
monetization
just
like
about
that.
Parameters going up and down and numerical values changing, but how these changes are reflected in the feel of the action as much as possible. In particular, the leg parts, which control the AC's movement, you might have a tank type legs that can perform drift turns, and this changes the very basic behavior and traversal type of the AC. We also made sure that the behavior of weapons, such as the way they shoot, how they recoil, how their projectiles behave, we tried to make sure that this all makes a big difference in how the game feels and plays.
Yeah, recoil was always a
So,
really fun
speaking a little
thing.
bit about that-
You could have a shoulder cannon that fires off like a humongous shot, and then like your AC actually bucks backwards when it happens. So if you're using like a biped, you would go flying backwards, but the advantage of having like the quadra leg is that you can plant yourself down and then fire and not be able to or mitigate the recoil.
Customization, Armored Core games have a bit of a reputation for being very complex, with many stats to consider, parts to swap in and
Cross out?
Is
Sounds
there
familiar,
anything
but I
else
haven't
that
played
you guys
it.
are planning on doing with Armored Core 6 to make it a little more approachable for newcomers who might not be used to that level of complexity?
As you mentioned, Armored Core has always been a game with many parameters and is a game where you can enjoy the complexity and depth it offers, but we feel it's also a game where you can enjoy simply by assembling your AC without thinking too deeply about it. Adjust the appearance to your liking.
You'll see the gore?
there and pilot it
Like the mech gore on this? What the world is going on here? I struck
Adjust
gold,
the
K
appearance to your
Kona.
liking and simply get out there and pilot it and take it into combat. That said, in regard to new players, we've taken careful steps with the onboarding and level design in the early stages of the game, so that players can deepen their understanding step by step, little by little, and work their way into that fun of the more complex parts. We've also prepared a
I'm sure
training
people are still
simulator
gonna look up
where the player can learn
best
the basics of
builds
action
for
and
Armored
assembly
Core.
using sample ACs. And we've also tried to make the controls more intuitive, so that we hope that those who have no experience with the series will feel free to enter and enjoy the feel of piloting their very own Armored Core.
Are there any lessons that you guys have learned over the many years you've spent developing the Souls games that you
I'm
take
glad they
into
were
the
able to get an
development
interview
of
like
Armored
this.
Core
This is
6,
great.
even though they're kind of two very different genres?
Armored Core 6 is an attempt to take both the knowledge and experience gained from the development of our previous titles and combine it with the fun of mech customization that the AC series has always embraced. And in this sense, we hope to create a new mech action game that is worthy of modern From Software standards. Specifically, we're developing this game with an awareness of the things
full
that
hopium
From
right
Software
here.
has always embraced in its other action games, such as a intricate map structure, combat design that allows players to deal with enemies by carefully observing their movements, and the ability to overcome challenging situations with
Built an
ingenuity
armored
and
vehicle with
creativity.
modular parts for
These
other
are all,
people's
of course,
creations.
things we've kept in mind.
Hopefully,
with
we're gonna
AC6
get
as
back
well.
to fighting other people's stuff
However, as you
in this
mentioned,
one
the
too.
basic format and genre of Armored Core is completely different from games in, for instance, the Souls lineage. So there are no aspects of the game mechanics or gameplay that can be directly observed.
You ready to climb the wall?
No
Can
dodge
you talk a
roll.
little bit about your goals with the combat design, and are there any kind of
Gotta have a
mechanics that
campfire
players
and a
should know
stamina
about that
bar,
perhaps
or else it's
didn't
not from
exist
soft.
in previous Armored Core games?
In terms of points we focused on this time around, I would say that individuality of the melee weapons is one of the key points. Armored Core is mainly a shooting game at heart, and that's exactly why we had this policy of having more unique melee weapons this time around. So in addition to the well-known pile bunker and the cluster bomb launcher that you might have seen in the trailer, there are also a variety of weapons with different animations and more unconventional characteristics, such as a chainsaw and a laser lance, and things like that.
I feel like that might be coming from Elden Ring, because previously you would just either have laser blade, a single rocket that you have very limited ammo for. I believe there was a shield too. But for the most part, it's all just support gear that's on your left hand. And if something is in melee range, then sure, you could probably do it. But the idea that we'll maybe bring in some of this exotic stuff, like a whip, this person has a shield. There was a energy blade in here too, like this right here. From that distance, like this is suicide in PvP, I assume. But if they can find a way to make this a viable strat in Armored Core 6, that's actually really nice.
In the trailer, you may have also seen a part where it's against an opponent who is reeling back from this shockwave. This kind of building combos with multiple weapons aspect is an appeal of
You had to build around. If you put a massive cannon on a dinky vehicle, flip over.
Will enjoy using
Armored Core
creativity
2
asking
had some of
themselves,
that.
what combination of weapons can I use to create my ideal combo attacks and secure victory?
So is there any one new thing, whether it's a mechanic or a mech part or a weapon, that you're particularly proud of and are excited for players to experience in Armored Core 6?
I'd like players to mostly look forward to something we touched on earlier, which is this using their ingenuity and creativity to create a combination of their own making, and a combination of the various parts and weapons at their disposal. So for example, they might be dashing across the battlefield while shooting ballistic weapons and letting missiles fly in every which direction. These missiles will connect with their enemy, knock them off balance, and then they'll use their assault boost to dash in with a quick burst of speed and finish with a melee strike. This kind of player
That's all like
combo
standard
and
from
their own
Armored Core
unique
2. Maybe
combination
people
of
weren't doing that in
weaponry
4 and 5.
ability will allow for this new aggressive, offensive style of AC combat.
Which is
hope
why
this
they have to
something
talk
that
about it.
Reinvigorates the series and that new and old fans alike can enjoy.
Multiplayer has always been a big part of the
Maybe
Armored
if
Core
we do get a
series. Is
chance to
there
look at
anything
that
you can tell us about multiplayer in
best
Armored Core
player
6?
use as a controller, we'll see
Well, I
what the
believe
issue is.
ACV was more focused on multiplayer as the last title in the series, but first of all, the main content of AC6 is positioned as single-player campaign mode, where you progress through a more traditional mission structure. There will be an online PvP mode where players can compete against each other.
Hope
with
the arena's still
ACs
in.
they have built and share their AC data and emblems of their own making with other users.
A big part of Armored Core 3 especially is that there's an arena that has like maybe 50 different AI units in it, and you basically have to climb up the leaderboard. And of course they get harder as you go up. But one of the advantages of having that is that when you defeat an enemy, the schematic of the enemy is loaded for every single one of them. So you can try to like copy them if you have the actual build for it. And that gives you sort of like a sample unit that you can play. I was hoping that that's like the idea of them having sample units for Armored Core 6. But I guess to be fair, story-wise, if it's a corporation that's just invading a planet, maybe you don't really have tournaments. But I would love to see that come back, even if it's
First and
DLC.
foremost, the story missions in AC6 are single player only. We would like players to go in there, become the lone mercenary lifestyle, and enjoy this aspect of the game first and foremost. We do hope to share more details about the
This is sick,
online
though.
aspect at a later date, so please stay tuned for that.
Let's see how
I feel
far they
like
can
playing
fly.
online matchmaker is probably going to be god-awful.
All right, well, that about wraps it up. Ogura-san,
Very
thank you so
similar
much for your
to
time.
Elden Ring. It's just going to be nothing but rivers of blood and spell builds. And you're over here, you're just a great sword strength stacker. What are you supposed to do against all of these river of blood and int stackers? I feel like that's what's going to happen, but opium moment right here. All right, before we move on to Rogue Legacy 2, someone said you should check out Best Armored Core Player Uses Controller. Is that what it was? I think we actually saw this before, which was a PvP match. They said Armored Core 5 had like a big PvP community. I think I remember watching this before, and it was honestly not super great, in my opinion.
Within the rain. Oh, there we go.
Already found him.
Wait, they have the actual
Back
squad.
in the rain, no, those, it's holding two Zapoys. Those
We're
are
in comms right now.
All your base.
If it's God, yes, I am.
So
Oh
many
my
keybinds
God.
or something? Yeah, so Armored Core 3, for those who happen to know it, it does have N-Log stick, but back then, camera control was not on your right stick. Back then, camera control was on R1 and R2. So like R1 lifted the reticule up, R2 sent it down, and then you go left and right with, I think it was really D-pad. I don't know if N-Log stick was even used in Armored Core 3. And then L1 and L2 was for your shoulders, and then face pad was for your arms.
I've done this in rank too.
Yes, it is.
I
We
pulled it
are
up on
God.
Mr. God. I pulled it up.
I
on
feel
Mr.
worried
God.
being on
Oh,
comms
shit,
right
like, he
now.
refuses to fight.
How old is this? I feel like a gamer
Your
word's gonna
emblems
come
are
out.
So, oh my god, I try so hard, pro.
This is Armored Core 5, by the way. So this is
How
the
does it say-
last
Oh, I thought it said this
You know,
thing had
my-
20
in the franchise, and this is just PvP. So we're not looking at the actual like Armored Core 6 gameplay right now.
Where are we going?
But like even this, the word vomit on the screen right now, I think they're trying to analyze what the opponent has right now, but like what are you seeing?
They're all over here, on my marker.
I wonder how this even runs. I feel like your PS3 is gonna explode.
One guy by himself back here, just chilling. He has that on him.
Apparently, I can't play this game as well as they can. I'm toast.
Wait, someone already died?
God, I hate those guns.
I got
so
a few.
much.
I got a few shots off one guy.
Is this what multiplayer is going to be like in Armored Core 6?
How the hell am I already at 5,000? Do you not?
But see how like far back you are? In all the trailers that we see for Armored Core 6, there's a lot of like in-your-face action. This is what 4 and 5 kind of, I don't want to say devolved into, but... This is someone trying to explain the gameplay, I think. Alright, I think we're good though. Point is, we're extremely excited for Armored Core 6. I would probably be there day one. 100%. But we've got some games to play, people. I've never played an Armored Core game. Don't know if you'll play the new one, but it looks cool. Well, Chris, hopefully you'll at least be able to play vicariously through us. Checking out new RL2 update. Alright, so docket-wise, first thing we're doing is Rogue Legacy 2. New update. New true rogue mode. That actually sounds incredibly good. Instead of regular Rogue Legacy 2, they basically have a standalone mode that doesn't require any of the stuff from the campaign. It is all randomized. And of course, when you die, you restart. But the whole goal is to be able to beat a run of Rogue Legacy 2, which did not exist until yesterday. What's the other gaming news? I was gonna look at gameplay trailers, but we're a little low on time. A big part of it was how, like, a lot of the gameplay trailers right now are basically, like, thirst games in the roguelike space. And we just played Neon Echo, and I feel like Neon Echo is probably the line, I feel. So for those who, as I'm loading this up, for those who may have seen games like Goddess